Ashland, a professional violinist, is in the hospital after an accident in which an unknown man sprayed poison into her eyes. She awoken in the intensive care unit where she is being treated. Soon after, a nurse named Omar introduces himself, stating that he has been caring for her and that she is now safe at Columbian Western Hospital. Omar removes the bandages from Ashland's eyes, and soon she gets shocked to find out that she can no longer see. Omar instructs the doctor to examine her. The doctor examines Ashland's eyes and informs her that the chemical left her optic nerve intact but sadly seared it. In other words, he apologizes to Ashland for the irreversible damage. Ashland is very much upset after listening to the news and weeps alone because she now believes that her career and life is over. Soon after, a detective, Bryce, approaches her to investigate and asks if she knows or recognizes the man. But Ashland informs him that the man was wearing a mask and she couldn't identify him. The detective inquires if she has anything valuable in her car. She tells him about her ruggery, a $500,000 precious violin. The agent believes this is a robbery, but Ashland disagrees and informs him that the man came looking for her. Bryce informs her that the suspect could be her ex-husband or a fan of hers. Ashland is sleepy as a result of the medication. The detective assures her that they will find the man and that they will talk again soon. The doctor informs Ashland that her brother, Easton, has been contacted. When Ashland speaks with her brother, he tells her that he has hired someone to look after her for the next 2 months because he is too busy to come in such a short time. He appoints a man named Clayton whom he trusts. Ashland finds it difficult to adjust, but with Clayton's help, she begins to live her life. When the door is knocked on, Ashland awakens in the room. Clayton tells her that he is there to help her because her brother told him to. Ashland invites him in. Clayton informs her that she is in the apartment 902 and introduces himself. Clayton tells her that she should be relieved to be out of the hospital and opens the window to describe her that how luxurious her apartment is. She then inquires about Clayton's apartment. Clayton tells her about the locations of the kitchen, bathroom, hallway, and window on the left side of her bedroom. He tells her that the walls are blue and that everything looks great. When Ashland inquires about Clayton, he tells her that he is the simplest piece of the puzzle because he has worked with many patients like her and has extensive experience in personal care. He tells her that the lunch will be ready in 30 minutes and leaves to the kitchen. Ashland tries to walk to the kitchen but is startled by Clayton's sudden voice. Clayton informs her that he will be in the apartment from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that he will be cooking and cleaning as well, but he tells her that he is mostly here to assist in the Capitol, a department for adjusting. He assures her that losing her sight does not imply losing herself and that she can continue to do the things she enjoys. He also promises to teach her Braille as well as how to use her cane and dictation software. He hands her a phone and instructs her to call him or the other building security whenever she needs help. Clayton moves away, informing her that he has another client waiting for him. Ashland tries to call his brother late at night, but his phone is turned off. She leaves a voice message saying that she is feeling empty and lonely in her apartment and that she misses him very much. Clayton tries to sleep but soon wakes up from a nightmare about the incident. The following morning, Clayton gives her a green parrot and tells her to imagine it as a blue parrot because she is free to use her imagination. Ashland approaches the window and tells Clayton as to why the noises are too loud before closing it, and as she gets to the other window, she notices that there is no sound or wind. Clayton informs her that the window glass is thick on that side. Clayton then tries to draw her attention to the other side by telling her about her profession as a violinist, which she performs best, but Ashland becomes enraged and tells him that all of this is over. While eating her lunch, Ashland apologizes to Clayton. Clayton walks away, handing her a stick that aids the blind and telling her that he will not force her to do anything. Late at night, Ashland awakens to a distressed woman's voice. She tries to call his brother, but he is not available on the phone, so she decides to investigate it herself and slowly exits her bedroom. She first thought that the woman is in her apartment, but then she realized the noise is coming from the vent. Someone appears to be brutally beating a woman. The next morning, she tells Clayton about the incident, but Clayton didn't believe her and tells her to keep her intentions hidden from the outside world because these voices are only in her head. Clayton tells her about his mother and father and how he chose this job because it makes him feel good right away. Clayton and Ashland becomes close, but it appears that Ashland requires a man who understands her situation. As Clayton leaves, Ashlyn writes a note and manages to hang it on her neighbor's door. Lana arrives the next morning and introduces herself to Ashlyn as her neighbor. Lana tries to hide her age by saying she is 48, but Ashlyn touches her and notices that she is young and has a scar on her face as if she is hiding something. Lana's confession that she knows about Ashlyn's eyes surprises Ashlyn. She inquires as to how she would knew that she would ever had her sight. Lana gets near Ashlyn and tells her not to trust anyone before exiting the room. As Ashlyn believes that Lana's husband brutally beats her, she calls the detective to investigate the scar on Lana's face. Later, Ashlyn receives a response to the noise complaint, and the officer informs her that Lana doesn't appear to be in danger from her husband, but rather she has injured herself and is a mental patient. The following morning, Ashlyn notices the same car, same alarm, and all of them at the same time. She informs Clayton about the suspicious alarm at 11 a.m. every day, but he dismisses her, claiming that this is a big city with alarms everywhere. Late at night, Clayton approaches Ashlyn and confesses his feelings to her, but she quickly gets enraged and tells him that this is not what she wants. She tells him to leave. After a while, Ashlyn hears the sound of the door and apologizes to Clayton for not knowing what to do and being unable to contact anyone because no one visits her and asks him to stay. After receiving no response from Clayton, she quickly realizes that someone else has entered her apartment and that it could be the same man who poisoned her eyes. She rushes to get away and grabs her phone, dialing 911. Soon after, the man grabs her neck and tries to suffocate her. She gets unconscious. The following morning, Ashlyn awakens to find a man introducing himself as a paramedic and telling her that he has applied a bandage to her injured wrist from the previous night. The paramedic appears to believe that she has cut her wrist. When Ashlyn tries to tell him about her neck, he ignores her. Clayton walks in and tells Ashlyn that he would never leave her alone in the middle of the night. He tells her that he has informed the detective about Lana's husband's actions, but Ashlyn says it was not him, but rather the man from the incident who poisoned her eyes. Clayton tries to divert her attention once more, telling her that she has been drinking too much wine for a few days. Ashlyn becomes angered and tells him to leave. While Clayton left her apartment, Detective Bryce arrived to meet Ashlyn. Bryce confirms to Ashlyn that her friend Sasha is the main suspect that night because they discovered evidence of her from the accident and her footprints also match. Bryce also informs her of her affair with her ex-husband. Ashlyn requests that Bryce should investigate the last night's incident, but he informs her that no one entered her apartment after Clayton left that night. He assures her that he too saw the camera while she was alone in the apartment. Ashlyn becomes agitated and attempts to persuade Bryce as to what happened the night before, but Bryce simply ignores her and tells her to rest instead. Ashlyn, with tears in her eyes, appears as if no one believes her, and the only thing she knows is that everything is suspicious of her. Bryce walks away, stating that perception is not always reality. The following day, Ashlyn gives Clayton the day off. She sends a message to Easton, admitting that he was correct about her marriage and that she was wrong to put this distance between them, and she also apologizes. She is terrified of sleeping at night and of the days in between, and she is unable to try and convince anyone, including herself. Ashlyn walks up to her window and opens it as if she is feeling lonely and has decided to commit suicide. She jumps out of the window with tears in her eyes and says goodbye. Ashlyn suddenly wakes up and finds herself alive, looks as if she has solved the puzzle. She realizes that the apartment she was staying in was a pack of lies and that all of the noises she heard outside were coming from a speaker system. She then explores the corridor only to discover that she is trapped. Ashlyn seeks assistance from Lana, who informs her that she has arrived back home. Clayton then arrives to cook Ashlyn dinner, and she realizes that everyone she has interacted with since her attack, the doctors, the detective, and the paramedic, has all been Clayton, dressed up differently every time. Ashlyn knocks Clayton unconscious and discovers Lana, who reveals that she is Clayton's sister and that she assisted him in her kidnapping. She then informs her that their only option for escape is to use the hidden vent in Clayton's room. Soon after, an emergency alarm goes off. Ashlyn runs towards the vent, but is again captured by Clayton, who drags her to a room and ties her hands behind her back. Ashlyn questioned him as to why he was doing all this. Clayton breaks down and admits that after his mother died, his father forced him to stand there and watch as he smashed her bird cages while the birds remained inside. Clayton was upset with his father. His father dragged him into a cellar by his hair and imprisoned him for 3.5 years. His only connection to the outside world was his imagination, during which Lana played Ashlyn's music for him, the same music he used to listen with her mother. He tells her that he is doing all of this to express his love for her and to establish a relationship with her because she is her most precious lady who gave him hope at the time. While Ashlyn realizes the vent is behind her chair, she has time to distract Clayton. Clayton went unconscious after she shocked him. As Ashlyn opens the vent, she discovers that she cannot fit inside. She unexpectedly discovers the poison bottle hidden inside the vent. Clayton awakens and attempts to murder her, but she throws the poison at Clayton's face, causing him to suffer the same fate. In the end, Lana leads Ashlyn to an exit outside. Ashlyn recovers after a few days and resumes her professional violin career Sightless. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.